Welcome back to Royals Review. I'm your host as ever, Dan Worth, and joined by Jimmy. August is over, another win for Reading, 2 on the bounce at home, 2-0 against Charlton. We'll start with you, Jim. Thoughts on the Charlton match?
Probably my favourite game so far, I reckon, mate. Deserved 2-0 win. 0 goals conceded at the SCL this season so far. I think we could have been slightly better in the final third, but I reckon that's going to drastically improve as the season kicks on. Overall, I thought it was a really good game. I guess the main standouts, Savage, probably one of the best games he's had in a Reading shirt. Another fantastic goal, which really sort of made a difference to how we played. Charlton was slowly getting back into it, but once Savage scored, that sort of cancelled out everything really from a Charlton perspective. Good to see Sam Smith off the mark. Really well taken goal. I've watched the replay a bunch of times. Such a good run into the box. Well picked up by a Candy, who again was a top performer. So close to grabbing a goal himself too. Definitely going to be an important season for him now that Femi is gone. And I think finally Pereira, who for me was man of the match. 2 fantastic saves at 2 key points in the game. I think just having Bindon and Mbenge as centre backs is great, but just having Joel Pereira behind them just fills me with so much more confidence. I think we were sort of mentioning at the start of the season how important it is to have a good goalkeeper if you're going to do any good during the season. And I think Pereira has really sort of made that goalkeeper position his. I don't think Sellers is ever even going to look at the other goalkeeping options with the way that Pereira is currently playing.
Yeah, I agree. You kind of mentioned everyone that I wanted to mention. But a couple of things to add to what you said. It was Charlie Savage's best performance in a Reading shirt. According to whoscored.com anyway. I think it was an 8.2 rating, but I've just managed to close it on my laptop, so I can't confirm. But I'll post it on Twitter when we get off of here. But definitely his best performance. I wanted to give another nod to Sam Smith actually, because last week I was slightly critical, albeit not too harsh on him, of his performance against Wrexham, and he's obviously come against Charlton and scored and done the business. He was rated 5.9 against Wrexham and 7.9 against Charlton, so that's a pretty big step up. And to be honest, it's just the Sam Smith I was going to say we expect, which sounds like a lot of expectation, but we both agree that he's an amazing forward in this league. So getting him underway. A quick question for you, actually, because I had this conversation in the week. If I had to put you on the spot now, how many goals does Sam Smith score in the league this season?
I said it at the start. I reckon he can get 20. And the fact that he's off the mark with a decent first goal, surely that just means he can kick on now. It was a great finish, and I reckon he could get 20 in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I think I actually said 19, which is slightly below 20, but I'll round it up to 20. And we can both say
offensive. Why couldn't you say 20?
Yeah, I can say 20. 20 is my lucky number, isn't it? So we'll go for 20. I think he's averaging 15 in all of his seasons prior to this one. So anything above that is obviously fantastic. But yes, let's hope he hits 20.
I guess one more thing on that match. I wouldn't say Charlton were totally out of the game. They missed their key chances at chances where they could have capitalised. But after watching that Nathan Jones post-match interview, you would have thought that they just lost the Champions League final and they got beat 5-0 or something. So I don't know if anyone's checked on the players, but it did seem really over the top. I don't think they played that badly. I was a bit shocked by his head loss in that interview.
Yeah, no, me too. And also, like, they've had such a good start with 3 wins from 3, and then obviously the loss to us. But they even still seemed a little over the top. I actually tweeted earlier from the account. I'd love to have seen his heart rate during that interview, because, I mean, full credit to him. I can't believe he didn't swear or say anything completely ridiculous, albeit didn't really say much because he could barely contain himself. But thoughts go out to Nathan Jones. It's a long season, mate. If you're going to be making such a big deal after a loss to little old Reading, Wow, he's going to be in hospital at some point.
Yeah, I do feel like we've definitely got some, in terms of managers, there's definitely some like characters in League One now. You've got Steve Evans, Nathan Jones. I wonder who else can be added to that list come the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I'm interested to see. One player that I wanted to bring up, we're going to talk about August as a whole because it's obviously September now. But Lewis Wing, I love him. I'll probably say this every single week. Seemingly going under the radar, and not because he's having any bad performances. He's just doing Lewis Wing things. Like, he's not done anything that's extraordinary, particularly for Wing, which is a massive credit to him. And I actually saw a stat earlier. I think I sent it to you, comparing him against Casemiro, which obviously after his performance against Liverpool was probably actually slightly a bit harsh on Wing, but he has a better pass accuracy than Casemiro, which is incredible when you think of the cost difference and the wage difference. And if you give me the choice, I'm picking Lewis Wing all day anyway. Right. August, Jim. Let's start with your player of the month for August.
So I've gone with Charlie Savage, purely because at the end of pre-season, I mentioned that he was doing an awful lot, but not really doing anything. And then since then, he's been doing an awful lot, and he's assisting, he's scoring important goals. He's sort of completed his game a lot more. I think he's come on so much. I just hope he carries on the way he's playing at the moment.
Yeah, I have nothing but plaudits for Savage. So far this season, 3 goals already across competitions. He's really adding like that edge to his game, because we know he's super creative, but to be banging the goals as well. One is super helpful because we are going to need to share the goals with a thin squad. But 2, it's like it's winning us games. So hats off to Savage. And goals that win us games brings me nicely onto my player of the month, because I'm going with Kelvin Iabashiman.
Solid.
Slightly warped because, as everyone knows, I work for Who Scored, and Who Scored have him as Reading's highest rated player. He's actually in the top 10 players in the league with his Who Scored rating. But 2 very important goals for Reading this month, or last month, sorry, in August, and 1 assist. The goal against Birmingham, which I managed to miss because I was still at the bar, and the goal against Wigan, crucial in that too. A goal and an assist against Wigan, so super crucial in that win against Wigan. He's playing on the left, which is not necessarily his position, but I've already mentioned the squad's quite thin, so we are looking for players to go above and beyond their comfort zone, shall we say. And he's done that so much. I've been really impressed with him. He obviously loves the club, which also buys him extra brownie points with me. But yeah, been a great month for him. We've seen his price in the league's top scorer market go from 200 to 1 to I think about 50 to 1 now. So quite a plummet. I might actually have a couple quid on that. I was told at 200 to have a go, and I didn't. But now at 50s, I still think there's a little bit of value there. But yeah, I love Kelvin. Great start to him. I hope he can continue, because obviously it's a long season and we're only 1 month in. But yeah, we've mentioned goal scorers there. I think it's only Smith's goal that we haven't mentioned, but we're going to do goal of the month anyway. And as I've just said, I've got to rule out the Birmingham one because I bloody missed it at the bar. But you go first.
It's Savage v Charlton. Like, that guy's goal catalogue is just almost a carbon copy, or getting towards that, of what Lewis Wing has. I don't know what they're doing in training, or if Savage is learning from Wing. Well, I guess he's learning from Wing. He plays with him weekly. But I just, every goal he scored, I mean, he scored a tap in against Charlton, I guess, but the majority of goals, against Wigan, the majority of goals that Savage has scored, bangers. And that one against Charlton was, crazy. It was so far out, and it was just, I mean, right off the post, perfect. It's got to be goal of the month for me.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you, which is very annoying because I did say before this, let's try and disagree where possible to make it fun viewing, but I definitely can't do that here. I actually thought when he hit it, I was slightly disappointed because I thought he had other options on. Um, that was quickly removed because what a finish. Picked out that
Hmm.
bottom left corner perfectly. Um, yeah, this is turning into a bit of a Charlie Savage rating session here, but fully
Yeah, I
deserved.
know, I
So
know.
the Royals Review Pod goal of the month goes to Charlie Savage for that wonderful effort against Charlton.
Yeah,
Um,
you best drop the retweet when we put the
yeah,
video on
yeah,
Twitter.
Robbie can do one too. He's got all the followers. Um, not much else then awards wise for August. But I wanted to rate August out of 10, which is obviously quite an important month, given that it's the month that the summer transfer window ends, and it's the first few games of the season. So, what are you thinking out of 10?
Um, I'm going to go with an 8.5. You know, 2 wins, a draw, which could have easily been a win against Birmingham on the first day, and just the one loss against a team that I don't really think anyone sort of was were prepared for. They didn't really know how Wrexham was really going to play. I didn't really know how they were going to perform in this league. In fact, you know what? I thought that a step up from League Two to League One would actually be a bit more of a shock to them, but they seem to be doing really, really good, especially at the start of the season. So yeah, I think yeah, it's a really strong start given the situation. We're playing fantastic football. You can see how much the players have improved. Academy players out to impress. I mean, I guess it's just you just want this takeover to be complete, and Ruben to have the chance to like truly show what he can do with this squad without all the strings attached.
Yeah, you're right. I guess this question is actually really tough because if you remove all of the takeover and all the sort of like extracurricular stuff out of it, results wise, it's been it's exceeded expectations. I think is very fair to say. We've come up against Birmingham, who are undoubtedly the best team in this league, and that will show throughout the rest of the season when they win it inevitably. And we were probably the better side. Birmingham fans maybe disagree, but I'm pretty confident on that. Wigan, question marks around them, but look, they're a team that have been very good in previous seasons, so we beat them at a bit of a canter, to be honest. Wrexham, as you say, a bit of an unknown. They've done well so far, and Charlton, a team that had won 3-3. So to come away with the points that we have, yeah, I'm very happy. I'd say it's probably a 9 out of 10 results wise. You always
Hmm.
have the transfer window shenanigans of, well, it's just question marks everywhere, right? Ruben saying, "Oh, we can't sign anyone," and we didn't need to get rid of Femi, and then signing Kem Campbell. I just don't really know. I have no words for it. And obviously the takeover didn't go through in August. So maybe September will have a higher score because the takeover will go through in September, but we shall see. I think takeover and extracurricular plus results, I'm probably going for an 8 out of 10, which is a very strong start. It would take a lot for it to be a 10. Uh,
Definitely, yeah. I mean, like you also got to think they bounced back well from the 3-0 defeat. They've kept 2 clean sheets at home. The only goal that they conceded at Birmingham was obviously a penalty. So, and I know it's up for debate about that whole penalty situation, but obviously we'll take it. So that could have quite easily been another clean sheet. So if we were going in with 3 clean sheets, no goals conceded at home, really, really strong performances from basically everyone that set foot on the pitch. There's really not too much to complain about besides all the bullshit that's happening off pitch.
Yeah, no, you've hit the nail on the head there. And it seems to be that the guys, Joe Jacobson, is suggesting that when the takeover happens, there will be time. Well, there's definitely space, but space for some free agents to come in to bulk out the squad. But even without it, like we definitely need it. I'm not saying that even without it, anything really, but even without it, what we've seen in August is the players playing with loads of confidence, playing with loads of fight. Like you see the Sam Smith interview, I think it was today or yesterday, whenever, where he's like, yeah, it really affects me, all of this stuff. But then he scores and he's taking his shirt off and he's like, I really want to play for this club and I want this club to succeed. And I genuinely don't know, and this is a ridiculous thing to say because, of course, that '06 team and the team that went up are more. But I don't know if I've loved the Reading squad this much in a long time, and potentially since 2006, which is a long time. So
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they've all been part of this whole journey, this whole sort of takeover journey. We've not lost too many of them. They're all young and they've got something to prove. It's a really likable squad. You've got Smith returning. I know we've mentioned Smith and Nibs and how much we both love them. But Smith returning and banging in goals, like it's all just. I'm not going to say fairy tale because it's not. There's not really. We've not seen the fairy tale ending that everyone wants, but it's definitely a good story, especially if you're a Reading fan.
Yeah, for sure. We can start flashing out the fairy tale quotes when we're on our way to Wembley in May. But until then, yeah, it's a good start. It's a good start. I mean,
Yeah,
we also
definitely.
haven't mentioned Ruben Selles in any of that. We
No
probably
words
don't
are
need to
needed.
because
No words are
all I'll
needed.
say is he's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like even just we were mentioning that Nathan Jones interview. We got beat 3-0 last week, and if I dropped Nathan Jones into that interview that Sellers was having, I don't know what might have happened to the cameraman, but there would have been serious head loss. I think Sellers is just, he's so calm in his interviews. Like he knows like where stuff went wrong. He knows how to rectify it, and he just moves on. And I don't know. I mean, you can see how the players bounce back against Charlton. So yeah, I think he's just a fantastic manager, and it will be a shame if we don't manage to get things sorted off pitch and give him the opportunity to show what he can do with the squad.
Yeah, definitely. The LFA banner was out again at Saturday, and rightfully so. I love Sellers to bits, and I'd argue with anyone that he's the best manager in League One, and I think we're very, very lucky to have him.
Yeah.
One last topic before we go, then, Jim. Probably not even that much to talk about, really, but international break. It's the perfect time for Reading, really. With a nice win going into it, but starting to pick up a few knocks, and as we've discussed, to the hill and back, the Reading squad is very thin. So perfect time, really for those players to get a rest and a week or two to recover.
Yeah,
And
definitely. I think. Well, I feel like every season we say, "Oh, international break, perfect time for Reading," but it's usually because we're getting battered at this point. But I guess right now we want them. Well, we could give the club a bit of time to get the takeover over the line. Fingers crossed. Yeah, rest the players, thin squad, and all that. But it is annoying that we're not going to be able to watch them play. I want to just keep on watching this team play. They're extremely entertaining, and we're playing the best football that I've seen Reading playing in a long time.
yeah, it's not too long ago that I cast my mind back to people saying to me, "Oh, Reading unbeaten this weekend during the international breaks." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, mate."
Exactly.
Whereas now I'm like, "Hell yeah, we're a great team in this league, and we're going to have a fantastic season." Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We discussed the takeover.
Leighton Orient after the international break. I think Leighton Orient, who are
Yeah,
bottom of the league, I believe they lost
yeah,
3-0, I think, to Shrewsbury on the weekend. So yeah, I guess the hard start to the season has come to an end, but I don't want to jinx things. If we get beat 3-0 against Leighton Orient, I apologise in advance. But yeah, it'll be nice to see how the team can play against a slightly weaker team in the division.
Yeah, Leighton Orient are bottom of the league with 0 points. The only team in the league with no points at all. Only scored 2 goals so far this season and conceded 8. So yeah, I mean, they kind of are the team that you want to be coming up against first after an international break. Particularly if we do have a few returnees, i.e. Harvey Nibs, who will be looking to kickstart his season. So yeah, that to look forward to, and more action back at the SCL. So. Yeah, lots to look forward to. We mentioned the takeover. I've got that down to talk about, but yeah, there's no point really, is there? There's not much going on. We could talk about Bowen and how he's been sacked and all that kind of stuff, but again, we've just had a positive 20 minutes. Let's leave it out, and we can leave all the ITKs on Twitter to continue that discourse. So all that's left for me to do, Jim, is thank you very much. Thanks to everyone who's listening, please do like, follow, and subscribe the Royals Review Pod so that we can get this podcast in front of the right people, the loyal Royals. Enjoy the international break, everyone. Come on, you R's.
See you later, Dan, mate.